If you have trouble with knees, little knee pain, knees feel vulnerable when you're doing certain exercise, this is for you. I'm Deborah Atkinson. I'm the founder of Lifting 50 and the author of You Still Got It, Girl. One of the reasons that our knees start to bear the brunt of pain when we're compromising them or we're doing exercises or maybe we're gardening is a poor ratio of strength in our hamstrings to the strength in our quadriceps. Life is out front. Quadriceps tend to be a little bit stronger. If you've ever gone for a walk, you probably went forward. Bicycle riding is all front, and we tend to sit so very much. Then when we go to exercise, we do squats. Lots of times we're trying to do lunges, but we do fewer hamstring specific exercises. And that's what this video is all about. What I'd like you to remember going forward is whenever you work your quads in an exercise, like a squat or a lunge, you always, also in that same workout, do a hamstring exercises. Here you're going to find one that you can absolutely do.
The first of the hamstring exercise I want to show you is with a ball, and I'm going to show you two parts. So the first one is actually you come up in a bridge. So you're doing that. You may just come up and down. If you're not yet able to do this, curl. But notice my hips can either stay in place or now I'm demonstrating with them up in a pike position when the legs curl in, much more difficult. Now, if you want to get really fancy and strong, you pull one leg off and do one at a time. And this is not easy. You may not be able to do as many. And if you can't do the other one, at least up to 15. You're probably not ready for single legs yet. It's always going to be there. Okay, next, hamstring curl very similarly, but we're using a TRX, so it is anchored over the door above. You'll find these often in a gym. So again, you come up in a bridge first and then you're pulling in. Now I want you to notice something. I'm cheating a little. My knees were going wide, so I'm going to get closer so I've got a little better control. And will catch me if I cheat again. So again, you've got your heels, you have to maintain them, but I can do this bridge alone or come up and then pull out. And still my knees want to go a little wider as much as I'm thinking about not doing that. This is a super simple one as you look at it. But here I'm coming up, I'm on a foam roller. So clearly what I'm doing is fighting movement. So I'm stabilizing. It's much like the effort in a plank is holding still against gravity. Well, that wants to roll away from you. Notice how my hamstring is popping there? So I'm really working, even though there's no movement. You could do the same with your feet, say on a medicine ball. This is just a little bit more comfortable. When you do two legs, easier than one, so this again makes it a little bit difficult. Now, I don't love this traditional exercise. This is like 1980 called and wants it back. Ideally, though, if you're not able to do some of the harder exercises or our rear lunge I'll show you next, you do want to come back to some of these that wake up lazy glutes and get a hold of that muscle and wake it up. So comment below if you feel like that's you. You're doing the exercises, but you can't really feel them firing. This starts to get your hamstrings and your glutes, and we can't really work one without the other. But I'm going to take you all the way through this. So we've done, say, 10 on that side, flexing. Now I'm going to lift this straight leg, and here's another way to make this more difficult if you'd like to. You could put an ankle weight on, whether it's 2 or 3, or if you could go to 5 pounds, that's an option. But if you can't do it well, don't do it. But that's another way to make it a little bit more difficult. And here you're also able to have that resistance where you can't hold the dumbbell clearly. So combination move comes up, flex at the knee, come out and down. The hamstrings muscle crosses the knee and crosses the hip. So with this exercise, we're getting this hip extension now, knee flexion now. So we're getting a lot of movement from that hamstring muscle, really engaging the whole thing and doing it in a way that is probably a little more functional. When we sit, we stand, we push things, we are using both hip extension and knee flexion often in the same move. So isolating doesn't make a lot of sense. So other side, let's review that. So it was with the weight in my knee. That's a talent to be able to get that in there. Once you've got it, you're okay. So it's down and up, full range of motion. Pay attention to my back. It's not moving. and that's a really important factor. And notice how I have one elbow down, but the other arm is out to the side. That's to help weight distribution and to prevent me from arching my back. And so I want you to make sure you're realizing I'm not down on both forearms and I'm not up on my palms on purpose, because we can take care of the back. We don't need to do any damage there while we're working something else. So that was the knee up with the weight. This is a straight leg up. You can choose a number, shoot for 10 of each when you're started. See if you can build yourself up so you're doing 15 of each. The goal here is just to touch that heel down. This is where you could be using that ankle weight. And again, that'll change things. It's a long lever. And so you're going to feel it a lot more, and be careful of the lower back. The combination move now comes in and out, down. Lift, curl, and press and lower. Lift and curl, go out and down. And lift, curl in, press out, lower down, lift and curl and out and down. Good. So you want a full set of these as well, each one of those moves. And down, good control. And again, you're going to watch out for that lower back not arching is what we're looking for. So now it's pushing the ceiling away is really what I want you to think. Heel up. And then, of course, stress that lower back. Even though you didn't think you arched, there's a little stress there. Now, a rear lunge, I think most of us can agree, it's largely a lot of quadricep work. It should be some glutes as well. But now, thinking from the front leg, that's the hamstring that I'm working. So when I'm coming in, I'm pulling, I'm drawing that leg toward me. It's like your foot is digging in and you're curling, like the hamstring curl in a different format. Now, if you've done other exercises, then come to this, you will emphasize it most. You'll be able to feel it where normally maybe you don't feel it in your hamstrings.
So there you have it. Not any exercise is perfect for everybody. So among these somewhere was one or two that you can do. Certainly if you're at a gym and using a gym, you can use a leg extension to do quads. But if you're doing squats and lunges, you probably don't need to also do that isolation machine. What you do want to do is go get the hamstring machine, either a seated hamstring, that's actually not my preference, or a lying hamstring exercise, or do it at home. Even at the gym, I'll often pull a ball because it's a little bit more functional, and there is no doubt my hamstrings are working when I'm using that. Let me know if you have questions below. But that's just one of the joints that you can keep safe by making sure you have a good balance and a ratio, and you're planning wisely what exercises you're doing and why you're doing them. I'll see you on the flip side.